My name is Matt Bogosian. In case you don't know me, I'm actually the founder of this group. I'm also a real estate agent here in the Middle Tennessee area. And today that's exactly what I want to talk about actually is the Middle Tennessee area. I just kind of want to break down some of the major areas that people like to live, talk a little bit about each one, maybe talk about the schools, home prices, etc. So, let's just dive right in. What you're looking at here is a map of Tennessee. Middle Tennessee is going to be Nashville, and hopefully you guys can see my cursor, but somewhere like right around here, kind of where you hit McMinnville and then maybe Waverly. But really, it's going to be Nashville and the surrounding area. So let's just talk about the areas around Nashville that people seem to like. I'm going to start out right away talking about Williamson County. If you look at school ratings, hands down, Williamson County always has the best ratings. And Williamson County is going to be down south of Nashville, and it's going to be Brentwood right here, Franklin, Thompson Station, most of Spring Hill. Some of Spring Hill is in Murray County. Fairview, which Fairview is still very affordable. I think the schools are good there. I've got a friend that has kids that go there and they think they're great, but it's kind of like a little bit of an outlier. So, and then if you zoom in on the map, you'll see some areas down here and over here, one of them being Nolensville. So you can see where Nolensville is. It's kind of like southeast of Nashville, right there. Then you've got Arrington. Arrington is really just an unincorporated community, so it's governed by Williamson County. It doesn't have its own government. College Grove, Eagleville. Not all of Eagleville's in Williamson County. Bethesda. This is kind of a mix down here of Thompson Station, Franklin, and College Grove. So that's Williamson County. Williamson County, hands down, if you look at school ratings in the Middle Tennessee area, they're going to have the best ratings, but you're going to pay. Homes there are getting pretty expensive, probably very similar to prices in some of the more expensive parts of California. If you're looking for a newer and really nice home in a beautiful neighborhood, it's not uncommon to spend $1 million to $1.5 million. There are homes, though, that you can get for a little bit less. So just if you're thinking about that area, just give me a shout, like a DM or something, and we can talk about it. All right, so if you go southeast of Nashville along I-24, about 30 minutes outside of Nashville, you're going to see this Murphysboro right here. Murphysboro is home to Middle Tennessee State University. Murfreesboro is in Rutherford County. It's a pretty dang big city. At one point, it was one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, and it's big. So Murfreesboro, the schools are 60% of them are rated good and 40% aren't. So there's some real gems of schools in here that have good rankings, and there's also a lot of different, a little more variation in the home pricing and options in Murfreesboro versus Williamson County. I think Murfreesboro is a good option. There's some parts of Murfreesboro, if you were to just drive into and decide that's how Murfreesboro is, just because of that one area, you'd be like, I don't like it. But if you get to some of these outlying areas, like, for example, just outside of Murfreesboro is Christiana. Christiana is a great little place. There's some little neighborhoods in here that are nice. Walter Hill, same thing, just outside of Murfreesboro. Some nice little areas here, real small towns, but they're close to Murfreesboro, which is going to have all your shopping and restaurants. Woodbury, that's getting kind of a little bit podunk, but you're still within a pretty easy drive to Murfreesboro. So that's another area that I think you should consider. All right, let's move this way. If you look east of Nashville, you're going to see Mount Juliet and Lebanon. So Mount Juliet is going to be in Wilson County, and they've got pretty decent schools. I think they've got some good ratings. It's more to me. I mean, you see how close it is to Nashville. I feel like Mount Juliet kind of really feels like you're almost in Nashville. The vibe to it. There are some of course, some more rural parts of Mount Juliet that you can venture out to. Um, but it's pretty competitive there as well. I mean, obviously, because look how close it is to Nashville. I think it's like maybe 15 minutes to Nashville. So Mount Juliet's a good option. Lebanon, um, I actually used to manage the Sherwin-Williams paint store out in Lebanon, and it's kind of a mix, of kind of redneck and rural and just up and coming. I mean, they're trying because people were moving out there, and um, it was less expensive, and it's still within, I mean, I want to say 30 or 45 minutes of Nashville, so you could still work in Nashville as well. Lebanon's going to have, they're not going to have any high-end shopping, although they do have some outlets there. It's not going to be like Williamson County as far as restaurants or shopping, but they're going to have all your basics, Walmarts, Tractor Supplies, good grocery stores, stuff like that. And they've got kind of a neat little downtown. I haven't been there in a while. I don't know if they've done some renovating, but it's kind of a neat looking little downtown. So let's keep going around Nashville. Keep in mind, I'm not hitting everywhere, but there's little towns in there like Gladeville that you can check out as well. So northeast of Nashville is Hendersonville. And Hendersonville, as you can see, is right near, I got all this stuff right here, but this is Old Hickory Lake, also the Cumberland River. Hendersonville is a really neat little spot. It's once again, it's really easy to get into Nashville. It's probably about 30 minutes, although depending on traffic can get pretty rough. It's, to me, Hendersonville is, it's in Sumner County. The schools are rated good. I think Hendersonville would be definitely a step up from Lebanon. Mount Juliet's just a different vibe. They're probably equal, but Hendersonville's going to have nice restaurants and shopping, and there's a variety of different neighborhoods there. So that's a good spot. I would check out Hendersonville. And you can see just a little bit northeast of Hendersonville is Gallatin. Gallatin's another decent area. I'd probably compare it to Lebanon a little bit, maybe even a little bit of a step up. That's not going to have high-end restaurants. I'm just throwing up an example, like P.F. Chang's or Perry's Steakhouse. It's not going to have anything like that. A little more of a country feel, but still you can see there's a hospital there. It's close to the water. Look, there's a Publix right there. Mountain biking, Lock 4 is a great mountain biking trail there. Not that hard to get to Nashville, although it is a little bit more of a ride, if that's important to you. All right, let's move around. You got north here of Nashville. I'm not a huge fan of this area. Maybe just because it's so different to me, but you've got White House, Cross Plains, Portland, Springfield. In my opinion, the schools aren't really rated that good. That's not really my opinion, but on the school rating sites, they're not really rated that good. There's no shopping up this way. You would have to go into Madison and Goodlettsville, and those to me, those aren't really great areas. There's a mall in Madison, and it's just, I'm surprised it's not shut down. It might be by now. So but if you don't have kids or you homeschool and you don't care about high-end restaurants and you don't care about being near shopping like that, you could probably find a nice house in these areas on a little bit of land for a decent price. And I mean, frankly, that's because it's not really that desirable of a place to live. But if it fits you and your budget, you might love it. So this is also going to get hit with a little bit more snow. It seems like our snow always cuts through. I mean, I get hit south of Nashville, but sometimes that line is like north of Nashville, hitting Clarksville and this area right here. So something to think about. All right, moving along. There's Clarksville. Clarksville's has Fort Campbell, which is a military base. It's Clarksville's huge. Clarksville has a ton of housing and a ton of different options there. It's very inexpensive compared to like Williamson County or even Murphysboro or Mount Juliet or Hendersonville. I mean, in Clarksville, if you have $400,000, I mean, there's a lot of options in Clarksville. That being said, because of that, the housing market's like crazy up there as well. But there's a lot of inventory. There's a lot of turnover because you got Army people coming and going. It's a nice area up here. There's if you cross the line, you can't see it here, but there's an area in Kentucky. It's like halfway in Kentucky and Tennessee called Land Between the Lakes, which is like a state park. Really cool for like hiking, mountain biking, and off-roading if that's your thing. So, and also the river, Cumberland River, goes right along through Clarksville and they're downtown, and there's kind of like a neat little river walk there. And there's some neat stuff here. In fact, in Clarksville, okay, I had some clients, and Stephanie, you might be watching this, that bought a home here in Cunningham, and that area is like beautiful. It's very rural, but you're just like right up the road from being in Clarksville. So once again, I think if you were to look in some of these areas just outside of Clarksville, I don't know what Port Royal is. I don't know if that's a city or an unincorporated community, but like these little communities right here, those probably aren't that bad. Once again, I have noticed when you get out in these, there's Land Between the Lakes way over here. I mean, look how big that is. Giant. And you can see it's in between Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. But you get out in these rural areas, I mean, maybe the schools are decent compared to what you guys are used to, but if you go on the school ratings sites, a lot of these rural areas are just going to have crappy ratings. They just don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of people that are involved in the schools. I mean, it's just kind of what you get. So just keep that in mind, guys. We don't really have like, once you get outside of some of these main areas, like I said, it gets a little podunk, I guess. All right, let's just kind of go west of Nashville. You've got Dickson. I mean, the problem I have with Dickson, if you look at the school ratings, they're not that great. But if that's not a thing for you guys, there's probably some decent options here. And Dickson's like, you're not going to have any high-end restaurants. You're not going to have any, and when I say high-end, like it's going to be hard to find like a really nice sushi place or a steakhouse. Something like that. Like, they're just not going to have that kind of stuff. They're going to have restaurants. They're going to have Tractor Supply and Kroger and, lots of fast food restaurants, that kind of stuff. Montgomery Bell Park right there is great for mountain biking, hiking, and camping. You can actually rent cabins in Montgomery Bell State Park and stay overnight. There's a little golf cart course there, so that's not bad. So here you have 40. I didn't kind of explain the highways either. Let me do that really quick. So you have I-40 that runs east to west, west to east, right in through Nashville. That's the main highway. And then I-65 runs north and south. You can see I-65. And then outside of Nashville, there's this Highway 840 right here, which runs from up by Dickson, and it goes around through Williamson County, through the Thompson station area, through Murphysboro, all the way over to Lebanon. 840, guys, is amazing to travel on. There's like no traffic on 840. I love 840. I live in Thompson Station. I'll take 840 if I have to go to Murphysboro. If I have to go this way up to Dickson, it's very easy to travel. So as you get further into Nashville, there is 440, and that's just kind of a mess. That's pretty annoying to drive on. So, I mean, we didn't really even talk about Nashville either. Nashville, I guess the reason I don't talk about it a lot, I don't work there a lot. My wife and I have 2 small children. We hang out with other people that have small kids, and we just don't go hang out in the city a lot. It's just kind of like a hip happening city, right? People are living in like the Gulch in the little condo high rises, and they've got pools on the rooftop, that kind of stuff. East Nashville's like your hipster type area right here. Lots of, coffee shops and hotels and bars. It's really cool. It's just not really my thing. There's places you can live there. Germantown. There's the Nations. East Nashville. It's gotten really expensive. The homes to me are just like, I don't know. They're kind of crappy. I don't really like them. So I just don't do a lot of work there. All right. So we were in Dickson last. And if you come back this way, we start getting back into like, here you see Bon Aqua, Centerville, Nunley. These are very like just rural, not much there. A lot of the houses are kind of disappointing. I've showed some of the houses. If you get a house like in Nunley that's like $300,000, it's going to be just completely run down. So Fairview, like I was telling you guys earlier, that is part of Williamson County. Leaper's Fork is actually a part of Franklin, and it's just amazing. Super high end, super expensive, like farmland, and really beautiful. So, and then south of Williamson County down here along I-65, you're also going to have Murray County, which is going to be like Columbia, Mount Pleasant, parts of Culleoka, and Columbia is like kind of hit or miss. Kind of reminds me of like Gallatin or Lebanon. Like there's a ton of stuff there, and they're trying, and there's some nice stuff, but there's a lot of kind of junky stuff there too. Like you'll drive through some parts that kind of, run down buildings, check cash in places. But then there's a lot of places you drive in Columbia and you're like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And their downtown is really cool. They've got like a steakhouse, a brewery, really cool pizza place and park. So I would consider Columbia, but make sure that you really need to drive around and see some of the areas just outside of right here. You need to make sure you see some of these neighborhoods like out in here, out up in here. It goes pretty far north. I mean, there's some stuff out here where you can get a house on like half an acre. That's pretty nice. Culleoka is very small and very rural. I love Culleoka. I've got some clients that recently bought a home there on like 13 acres or something like that. And then I've got some clients looking at another house that's like on 10. I love it because it's so rural and you're right here near 65. And it's really easy to get into Lewisburg or Columbia for your shopping. So, but like hardly anything comes up for sale there. All right, making our way around. You've got Lewisburg here. Lewisburg, just kind of like another little, kind of like Columbia in Lebanon. It's just like its own little city, and it's doesn't have anything Nothing high end. You're not going to find a wine bar there, or you're not going to find, like, I think they do have sushi, but not like high end sushi restaurants where you dress up, anything like that. It's just kind of basic stuff, old kind of, they've got their main street going through here. Look, McDonald's, Kroger. I mean, looks like there's like a Rock 10 type company. I don't know what this is. There's a golf course there, so that's nice. Home prices kind of all over the place. The problem that I find is really finding a home that's like nice, like 300 but clean. A lot of times they're just not clean. That's one thing I've noticed, like in a lot of these rural areas around Nashville. It's like it's hard to find houses that are like, when they're priced economically feasible for you, like they're just kind of run down. So something to think about. And then if you don't, lastly, and I'll let you guys leave, if you don't mind moving like a little further out, this Tullahoma, Shelbyville, McMinnville area, Manchester, you could probably find something on some land pretty easy in those areas for a decent price. Like if your budget was $500 or $600 or something like that, and you were looking out here, you could probably get a really nice home on some property. Versus if your budget's $500 or $600 in Williamson County, I don't even know if I could find you a house in a neighborhood because it's so competitive. So, all right, guys, hopefully that helped. I just wanted to kind of give you a breakdown on Middle Tennessee. I know I didn't hit everything. I didn't want the video to be like, 45 minutes. So appreciate you guys watching. And if you have any questions, just post them below or just shoot me a DM. All right, thanks. Bye.